Good evening, everyone. So today we are going to conclude on our inequalities, and I want to introduce you to the concept of absolute value in inequalities. Definitely, when you have on your Cartesian axis, which we call Cartesian plane, you have your Cartesian plane. Now let me make it a bit nice. This is your x-axis and your y-axis. This line is called line x is equal to 0. This line is called line y equals 0. All right, then you have this particular line. This line is y equals to x. All right, this one is line y equals to minus x. But we can give these two, let me do this. We can give these two lines the same value, and I'm going to change. We can give these two, let me bring it back. Okay. We can give these two lines the same value, this one and this one. I can actually jointly call it, the two values can be the same thing as y equals to absolute value of x. And this is where I want to introduce the concept of absolute value. Absolute value of x can be minus x or plus x. All right. So here you have minus x. Okay. Okay, here you have minus x. So let me call this one minus x. I just want to write my x in the same way. Something like that. Okay, this is minus x and the other is plus x. So you see that at the end of the day, you can have a situation where it will be absolute value. Absolute value means it can be minus. This is how we write it. You have absolute value of x. Absolute value of x is given as the maximum of x, whichever one is big. All right, so if I have minus 5, if I have minus 5, and I'm to look for the absolute value of minus 5, then I'll check the maximum. Which one is the biggest among minus 5 or minus into minus 5? Let me write it this way. Minus into minus 5. All right. At the end of the day, you found out that minus times minus is plus. So you can write it as minus 5, 5. And of course, you know that this is the biggest, the maximum value that you can get between minus 5 and 5. X itself is minus 5. Minus x is minus of minus 5. So in actual fact, absolute value will always result into positive answer. The absolute value of any inequality will always yield positive answer. So in that sense, how do we now make use of absolute value? So I'm going to give you some rules. I'm going to give you some rules now that we can follow. The rule number 1 states that if you have absolute value of x and it's also equal to absolute value of y, then absolute value of x all square must also be equal to absolute value of y all square. we can have it. All right. We can just make use of, you know, this. Okay, let me just use this. Um, uh, let me use just x square and y square. Okay, here come like this, and comes like this. Okay, it's the same thing because absolute value of x square is the same thing as x square at the end of the day. Absolute value, because if you have minus 5, square of minus 5 will always give you 25. All right, and if you have absolute value of minus 5 all square, it's the same thing as 5 all square, so you still get 25. So whichever way you say it, it's still going to give you the same answer. So, but I prefer using the square part so that it will just be direct. It will be just direct. Nobody will raise any eyebrow when you are talking about square. Even someone that is not used to absolute value before, we understand the concept of the square. Okay. So at this junction, what can we try to make out of all of this? An example is this. If you have if x example, if x minus 2 is equal to x plus 5, okay, find the value of x, find the value of x, the value of x. To find the value of x, I don't know. I'm used to writing x that way, but I know it can be better. I just wish it can be better. Really. Ah, writing x has become an issue. Let's manage that. I just want you to touch. Or better still, let me try the other one. I think that other one will work for me. Find the value of x. Okay. Mhm. So at this point, we are going to make use of this law. This law will work for us. And that is what we are going to make use of. So all we need to do is to say x minus 2 all square must be equal to x plus 5 all square. That's the solution out. So if you know how to expand, of course, expansion is JCSF work, so it shouldn't be difficult for you to do. This one will give you x squared minus 4x plus 4, and that will be equal to x squared plus 10x plus 25. All right, plus 25. If you collect like terms, x will carry x away, x will carry x away definitely. So what you are going to have at the end of the day will be, I want all the x to come together, minus 4. If this one comes here, it will become a negative. Please note the transfer of values, very important. This one is going here, and this one is coming here. So what you're going to have is minus 14x minus 14x to be equal to my 21. Yeah, 21. So if you divide both sides by minus 14, your x now is equal to 21 over 14 minus, don't forget, which is equal to minus 3 over 2. You can write it as minus 1 over 1 over 2. All right, let me just quickly do that. This is a jam class, so I'm not going to be solving maths for you like a primary student. Minus 1 over 1 over 2. You understand where that is coming from. 7 in 21 is 3, 7 in 14 is 2. So 3 over 2 gives you minus 1. And don't forget, when you divide both sides by minus, the numerator will carry the negative. The numerator will inherit the negative. All right, that's one thing. So you can try one of these on your own. And I want to believe that. Okay, let me just give you one to try. X, if x plus 1 over 2 and just want to write this number very well. I want to eliminate any form of confusion. Is equal to x minus 3. Yeah, that's 3 there. But let me just write it well, because people can misinterpret intention. If x plus 1 over 2 is equal to x minus 3, find the value of x. Find the possible value of x. You can get it in fraction, you can get it in decimal, but just make sure you follow the proper procedure. Find the value of x. And most times you can get multiple values, because whenever any of these equations lead to quadratic equation, you will get more than one value for it. All right. Value of x. Okay, you can try this on your own. I'm just going to leave it blank. Then I'll go to the next one. Okay, so let's talk about the Cartesian graph itself. Look at this graph now. I'm going to tell you something you need to know. For any graph you have, all right, you have already know that above, when you have x is greater than 0, where x is greater than 0 is this place. All this region is region where x is greater than 0. All this region. Why? Because on this side of the graph, what you have is x is less than 0. Now, it now depends on the nature of the graph. Sometimes when you are drawing inequalities in two variables, you will need to indicate which direction or which region you are shading. So the proper thing is shade the region, or you state the region you are shading. If you are shading the region x is less than 0, and then you are indicating that what you are shading is the other way, you need to tell us. In my own case now, I'm telling you, that's why I'm using the same color. I would prefer to shade the region x is greater than 0. It depends on where you are making reference to. All right. The region y is greater than 0. However, on this line, on this particular line, y is equal to 0. And in this direction here, y is less than 0. So I'm not going to shade that place. I'm not shading that place. I want to shade the region y is greater than 0. So y is greater than 0. So I want to shade. So this is the region where y is greater than 0. Anything that will make y to be equal to 0 or less than 0 is not going to be found in this region. It's not going to be found here. It can be found here. All right. So y is so here you have the region where y is greater than 0. Region y where y is greater than 0, and region y where x is greater than 0. So the next thing we want to discuss is, now you will now see an intersection. You will see an intersection. What is the intersection? Intersection of where y is greater than 0 and at the same time x is greater than 0. So that intersection, when you combine these two together now, combination of these two is this place. X is greater than 0 and at the same time y is greater than 0. That's this region. That's the intersection. Intersection of where y is greater than 0 and x is greater than 0. All right? So that's this place. I'm quickly going to make some assumptions here so that you will understand what's going on. Okay. Now, you know that when you are actually drawing this inequality on a line, you are not meant to use a straight line. You are meant to use dashes. Dash. So I'm going to make this one a bit thicker. Maybe I shouldn't have used black, but it's fine. Let me see. I can just use red. Okay, red to mean the region y is greater than 0. I'm using dash lines because it is strictly greater, so it is not equal to 0. If it is greater or equal to, your line should be straight. But if it is strictly greater, you need to use a dash line. So I'm making the blue line thicker to show dash line. I'm making the blue line thicker so that it looks like dash line. This is what you should have. Now, so I want to demonstrate something on the next slide now, if you follow me. And that is the fact that when I have y is greater, is less than 3x plus 2, how can I draw this? Y is less than 3x plus 2. Y is less than 3x plus 2. The first thing I need to do is to draw the equation of this. I will need to draw the line with the equation 3x plus 2. Okay, because I need to draw it on the graph. I need to turn it on equation first, normal equation, before I go to inequality equation. Then, if y is equal to 0, then 3x plus 2 will be equal to 0. That means x is equal to minus 2 over 3. From this equation, 3x plus 2 will be 0. 2 will go to the other side as minus 2. Divide both sides by 2, get x equal to minus 3. So keep this. Now, on the other side, on the other hand, if x is now equal to 0, then it means that you have y will now be equal to 0 plus 2, which is equal to 2. You need these two values. You need the value 0, 2 and minus 2 over 3, 0 to draw the equation, to draw the line that represents that equation. You need to draw the line that represents this equation. 0, 2 minus 2 over 3, 0. So I'm going to draw that on the next one. I will use a black line. So 0, 2, that is when x is 0, y is equal to 2. So I can pick a point here. Then minus 2 over 3, that is when x is minus 2 over 3. That is between 1 and 2. Let me say this is 1, this is 2. So this is between minus 1 and minus 2. It should be something like this, 1.5, minus 1.5. So I can decide to draw an this line. So this is the line that represents y is equal to 3x plus 2. This is the line. So y is equal to 3x plus 2. Sorry. Um, Let me write it below. Equation y. I don't want to write it below actually because I need it to tell you something. So let me just write it here. Equation y is equal to 3x plus 2. All right. But what I am saying is, if you go back, of course, I'm going to do that now. The equation says we should draw the graph of y is less than 3x plus 2. So if you are drawing the graph of y is less than 3x plus 2, two things you are going to know. Number one, strictly less than, you have to draw a dashed line. It's not a complete straight line. So when you are doing this as a practice, you have to use pencil. All right. So I'm drawing a dashed line. It's never going to be a straight line. It's a straight line, but it's dashed. Then y is less than that. This is the line y equal to. So since it is less than this, then I need to shade the region where y is less than. So here, all of this is the region where y is less than 3x plus 2. You shade it to this region now. The shaded region is the region y is less than 3x plus 2. So I'm going to put that equation in this region. That on this region, any part you go here, y must be less than 3x plus 2. So I'll write y is less than 3x plus 2. So that's this region. That's this region. Any part on this region now, y is less than 3x plus 2. On the line itself, y is equal to 3x plus 2. So if you go above, that is y is greater than 3x plus 2. So you need to understand what is going on. Less than will come down. Greater than will go up. This is the concept of quadratic, did I say quadratic? Cartesian inequality. It is from there you now talk about the concept of modeling, or what do you call it? It has a particular name where you can use graph to maximize profit concerning different products you are selling, behavior of customer, time of the day, rate of inflation, everything you can consider 2 or 3 different graphs. I'm just going to show you an example of what I just said. I may not want to go into the details of calculation, but please practice most of these things. Practice most of these things. I know the last class, I was showing you past questions in a textbook. But all these things are what you can see there as you practice. Practice any of this in that textbook. You will see your answers clearly stated. Okay, let's still see if we have another one coming up. Let me give another example. Maybe this time around, I can use combination like y is greater or equal to let me just use the direct number, x minus 5. Let me use something like this. Y is greater or equal to x minus 5. The first thing you need to do is write an equation. Y is equal to x minus 5. Use this equation to determine your coordinate axis to form a line. Okay, so I'm going to just draw a line below here. This is the line. So here, if x is equal to 0, comma, of course, if x is equal to 0, y will be 0 minus 5. That means y must be minus 5. Y will be minus 5. Y will be equal to minus 5. Let me rewrite that. Y will be equal to minus 5. 5. Minus 5. Then if y now is equal to 0, comma, it means x minus 5 will be 0. That means 5 can go to the other side. X now. My phone screen is acting up. Don't worry. X is equal to 5. That's what you have. So I can now draw my line of equation let's say I have y is equal to 5 here. Y is equal to minus 5 here. Let's say x is equal to 5 here. And here x is equal to minus 5. So when y is 0, x is equal to 5. That is this point. When x now becomes 0, y now becomes minus 5, this point. So I'm going to pick, and because from the nature of the graph, it is greater than or equal to, so I can use a straight line. I can use a straight line. Let me pick it away. I want to draw a good, something like this. So this one represents line. Now, greater than, the region where y is greater than, this line we draw is region y is equal to x minus 5. So the region that is greater than that or equal to it means it starts from this line. So I'm going to use, let me use green, because green will preserve the nature of mine. So it starts from the line. So I'm not going to use a broken line. I'm going to use a straight line. So anything above this line is the region I'm talking about. All of this region is the region that y is greater than or equal to, means it starts from this particular line. It does not go beyond it. Don't mind all those little green that goes beyond. It's just by means of that. So it does not go beyond. So I can write it as region, this region, the entire of this region now, y is greater than or equal to x minus 5. That's the entire region I shaded. Up from the line above. Yeah, from the line above. That's where you have all of that. So I think at this point, I don't know if there's any question anybody wants to ask. I want to conclude on inequality today so that we can quickly move to another topic. And for those who have written JAMB mock, I would have loved to know what's your feedback like? How did you interact with the online systems? For those that went to write, you can share your experience. Let's know how the math look like. Though it's not going to be any new notes or exam or new question. It's going to be one of those things we've been doing. And you know, in JAMB, you are not going to have the luxury of drawing this. But I encourage you to draw it so that you'll be familiar with how those things are picked up. They can actually tell you, yeah, it is possible. They can actually tell you to find the equation of the line. Yes. They can give you this drawing and tell you to find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line, which is very simple to find. Once you are able to pick any 2 points, note the nature of the equation. Maybe I should quickly tell you one. Let's see. We have that luxury of time. Let me pick one example for you there. Okay. So let's have something like this. Which one should I have? Maybe I should just let me do that. Something like this. Let me say we have -2 here. Probably we have 4 here. Okay. And then here is a straight line. You have all of this. They shade it, please. And they say you should give the inequality equation of this line. They say you should give the inequality of equation of this line, and they give you options. So I'm not going to give options because this is coming from, I can actually form options, which is very simple. You can see that on this horizontal line, x is equal to, y is equal to 0. When y is equal to 0, x is equal to -2. You can see that. So you can write 0, comma, when y is equal to 0, that is in the form of, that would be -2, comma 0, actually. When x is -2, y equals 0. And here, when x is 0, y is equal to 4. All right. Noting very well that you can have y is equal to mx plus c. That's the equation, but this is a 2-point form. So you have y minus y1 over x minus x1 is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. When you are given 2-point form, this is the formula you must use under equation of the line, under coordinate geometry. Yeah, under coordinate geometry. This is what you must have. So let's say this is our x1 and our y1 and our x2 and our y2. So that makes our work easy. So I can say y minus 0, that is y minus 0 over x minus 2. And that will be equal to 4 minus 0, that's 4 over 0 minus 2, that's over 2. So what you now have is y over x plus 2 is equal to 4 over 2. 4 over 2 is 2. So you can say y over x plus 2 is equal to, let me just say that on the next one. Y over x plus 2 is equal to 2. So I'm now having y over x plus 2 is equal to 2 over 1. You can now cross multiply. So equation becomes y is equal to 2x plus 4. This is the equation. But if you check the question they gave you, if you check the question you were given, you will see that the region they shaded is below the line. And then the line they draw is actually a straight thick line, not dashes. So if that occurs, that will give you some information that you need to know. What are the information you need to know? It means that y is less than or equal to 2x plus 4 is the equation of the line. You can see from inequality to coordinate geometry to collecting like terms to fraction to making something the subject of the formula, you know, a lot of things has occurred here now. So the equation is, the shaded region is y is less than or equal to 2x plus 4. That's how you write it. If you go and write this one as your final answer, you are wrong. Anyway, JAM may deliberately put this there. But you should know that inequality, it should not be part of the answer. So these are the things you need to know. These are the things you need to know. So I think at this point, I've explained everything you need to know. If there's still any other concern or area of concern or question, I want you to get back to me. But definitely, I've been able to see the absolute value and the Cartesian graph of inequality effectively. That this is all there is to it. Of course, we have the one with two different equations. You can have with something like this. We'll be addressing a region of this place where both equations are less than. This one is less than, this one is less than. So where they intersect, I've treated that with the first diagram that I draw or that I drew. You will see the intersection. If it is greater than, okay, it depends. If it is greater than both, you have it here, all right? Depending on the nature of the question you have. It can be in any form, but this kind of a thing always occurs. So I'm taking away all of this because it does not address any particular. So I can bring back that previous graph that I drew. Let me bring it back. So the graph that I draw was like this. All right, I have -2 here. And I think I have, let me check what I have on the other side. This is the graph. I have 4. Okay, good. Just don't want to make a mistake. So I have 4 here. Something like this. And I have this line. And then I shaded this portion. You can now see how beautiful it is. So from the graph, you can form the equation. And with the equation, you can form the graph. All right. But if you understand for this particular straight line, of course, understanding all of that will not be difficult. So I wish you best of luck. So next week, we are going to a new topic by God's grace. I want to stop here so that you can have your time to go over the video, watch it again, and understand the basic concept explained. So thank you very much, and good day to you.